Great cars, combined surviving examples you could count on two hands. GM built them, then spent the next 50 years pretending they didn't. These aren't barn finds. These aren't myths. These are real machines, with real production numbers so low that most dealers never saw one. Some never even made it to a showroom floor. The insurance industry was coming for them. Corporate brass wanted them gone. And yet, for one final furious window between 1970 and 1972, GM's engineers, its dealers, and its backroom performance builders pushed the absolute limit of what a factory car could be. What they built and what survived is the most concentrated collection of forbidden American muscle on the planet. These are the 8 rarest GM muscle cars of the 1970s. Every number you're about to hear is real. Every production figure is verified. Let's start at number 8. 1970. The muscle car era is at its absolute peak, and GM knows it is also at its absolute end. Corporate bean counters are already sharpening pencils. So, what does Chevrolet do? They drop a 454 cubic inch big block into the Chevelle, and they rate it at 450 horsepower. Gross horsepower. The real number was higher. This is the 1970 Chevelle SS 454 LS6. Only 4,475 LS6 Chevelle were built in 1970, out of hundreds of thousands of Chevelles produced that year. That engine, the LS6, ran 11.9 seconds in the quarter mile, stock from the factory. That was not a modified car. Car and Driver called it the fastest production sedan in the world. Not in America, in the world. Insurance companies saw that number and immediately blacklisted the LS6. Premiums for a 20-year-old buying one were, in today's money, catastrophic. GM pulled the LS6 option after 1970. 1 year, that's all it got. A numbers matching 1970 LS6 Chevelle, in documented condition, now sells at auction for $200,000 to $400,000. What? That is not a typo. Number 7 takes us deeper into forbidden territory. GM had a corporate rule in the late 1960s: no car under 10 pounds per cubic inch of displacement. A 4,000-pound car could only have a 400 cubic inch engine. They wrote it into policy. Vince Piggins, a Chevrolet performance engineer, found a loophole. Fleet and police vehicles were exempt from the rule. He ordered 1,015 Camaros through the Central Office Production Order System (COPO) and dropped a 427 cubic inch L72 engine in each one. This is the 1970 COPO Camaro 427. Zero factory advertising, zero showroom brochures. You had to know someone who knew someone. That 427 L72 made 425 horsepower. Gross. Real-world dynos put it closer to 500 at the crank. Quarter mile, 11.8 seconds at 114 miles per hour on street tires from a car that weighed under 3,500 pounds. GM's own executives didn't know these cars existed until they were already on the street. Surviving, documented COPO 427 Camaros from 1969 and 1970 now regularly clear $150,000 to $300,000 at Mecum and Barrett-Jackson. Number 6. Pontiac, a car so rare, Pontiac itself almost forgot to document it. By 1971, Pontiac's GTO was already a legend, the original muscle car, the car that started the whole war in 1964. But in 1971, Pontiac offered something almost nobody knew about: the Ram Air 5 engine in the Judge package. The Ram Air 5 was Pontiac's secret weapon, a 455 cubic inch engine with tunnel port heads and a solid lifter camshaft. It was never supposed to be street legal. Only 17 Ram Air 5 Judge convertibles were built in 1971. 17. That's not a rare car, that's a ghost. Pontiac never officially released the Ram Air 5's horsepower figure to the public. The number they quietly circulated internally was 500 horsepower. GM pulled the Ram Air 5 before it ever officially reached production volume. Insurance pressure, emissions pressure, corporate pressure. A verified 1971 GTO Judge Ram Air 5 sold at auction in 2022 for over $750,000. For a Pontiac, think about that. Number 5. And this one surprises people every single time. When most people think of 1970 muscle, they think Chevrolet, they think Pontiac. Buick is an afterthought, a car your grandfather drove. That assumption is exactly why the 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1 is one of the most underrated and dangerous muscle cars ever built. The Stage 1 option gave the GSX a 455 cubic inch engine cranking out 510 pound-feet of torque. Not horsepower, torque. The most torque of any production American car in 1970. Buick rated it at 360 horsepower, deliberately sandbagged. They didn't want the attention. Motor Trend ran it in the quarter mile and posted 13.38 seconds. Car Life squeezed out 13.1. For a car nobody took seriously. Only 678 GSX Stage 1s were built in 1970, and only 199 of those were painted Saturn yellow, the color that became its signature. Today, a numbers-matching GSX Stage 1 in Saturn yellow changes hands for $175,000 to $250,000. Buick finally gets the respect it was owed. Number 4, we go to Oldsmobile, a division that was quietly running with the fastest cars in the GM stable. By 1972, the muscle car era was dying on the vine. Compression ratios were being slashed. Power ratings were collapsing under new net horsepower rules. But Oldsmobile's W30 performance package, available on the 442, still packed a 455 cubic inch engine, good for 300 net horsepower. In 1972, when everyone else was surrendering, the W30 used a special camshaft, low-restriction exhaust manifolds, and Oldsmobile's own force air induction system pulling cold air directly from the front bumper. Quarter mile, 13.6 seconds at 104 miles per hour in 1972. That number embarrassed most of what Ford and Chrysler were still building. Only 772 W30 442s were built in 1972. It was the last real Olds muscle car, and almost nobody bought it new because the muscle era was already being written off. Number 3 is where this list takes a hard left into outlaw territory. Don Yenko ran a Chevrolet dealership in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. He also ran one of the most aggressive factory performance programs in American automotive history. In 1970, Yenko turned his attention to the Nova, a compact, lightweight car that most people bought as an economy commuter. He ordered them through the Copo system with the 350 horsepower LT1 small block, the same engine that went into the Corvette, and branded them the Yenko Deuce. A Corvette engine in a Nova that weighed 700 pounds, less than the Corvette itself. The Deuce ran the quarter mile in 12.9 seconds, lighter than anything big block guys were running, and it didn't need the insurance nightmare of a 427 to do it. Only 175 Yenko Deuce Novas were ever built. Some historians put the verified survivors today at fewer than 40 documented examples. When one surfaces at auction, the room goes quiet, then it goes insane. Verified Yenko Deuces have sold for upward of $200,000. Number 2, the car that the NHRA Superstock Rulebook was practically written to contain. In 1970, Chevrolet built 3,765 Copo 95-62 Camaros, this time with the ZL1 all-aluminum 427 engine, an engine so exotic it cost more than most houses on the street. The ZL1 427 was made of aluminum, block and heads. It weighed 100 pounds less than an iron big block. Race technology in a street car. Chevrolet listed it at 430 horsepower. Drag racers who actually ran them reported consistent low 10-second quarter-mile times on slicks. That is a race car with license plates. The ZL1 option cost $4,160 in 1969 on top of the base car price. That was the price of an entire base Chevrolet. Almost no one ordered it. Only 69 ZL1 Camaros were ever built. 69. And not all of them survived the decade. A documented numbers-matching ZL1 Camaro is among the most valuable American muscle cars on Earth. One sold in 2022 for $1.1 million. And then there is number 1. The rarest GM muscle car of the entire era, the one that should never have existed, the one that GM tried hardest to pretend it never built. The 1970 Chevrolet Camaro Copo ZL1 convertible prototype. Not a production car, not a dealer build. A factory-engineered prototype built by Chevrolet engineers with a ZL1 aluminum 427 and a convertible body. There is one confirmed example in existence. 1. GM's own records on this car are incomplete. Historians debate whether additional units were built and subsequently destroyed. What isn't debated is that this one exists, and its last known valuation exceeded $2 million. Now, why did GM build these cars in such tiny numbers, hide them from its own executives, and then quietly kill them all within 3 years? Three forces converged at exactly the same time: the insurance industry, the federal government, and GM's own board of directors. By 1971, GM's own internal memo, later leaked, stated that high-performance options were creating unacceptable liability exposure. The lawyers had arrived. The 1971 compression ratio cuts came down from corporate. Every GM engine lost significant power overnight, not because of engineering, but because of politics. And by 1972, the net horsepower rating system replaced the old gross ratings. Every car on paper lost 20 to 40% of its claimed power. The numbers were the same. The politics had changed. But here is what the suits never understood. Scarcity creates legend. Every one of these 8 cars became exponentially more valuable because GM tried to bury it. The 1970 LS6 Chevelle that cost $4,500 new now brings $400,000 at auction. The ZL1 Camaro that dealers couldn't give away in 1969 just crossed $1 million. The GTO Judge Ram Air 5 that Pontiac never officially advertised hit $750,000. GM tried to kill the muscle car. Instead, it created the most valuable collector car segment in American automotive history. Every attempt to suppress it only made it immortal. Which of these 8 would you want in your garage? Drop it in the comments. And if you want the full deep dive on the Copo system and how Vince Piggins outmaneuvered an entire corporation, that video is linked right now. Subscribe. We settle the debates that never die.